So today is Saturday, the 11th of July, and I've just finished a 21-kilometer hike. You can see I've done 33,000 steps, and I've just had a shower. So I'm going to have my first meal. I've had some yogurt on the trail and also some macadamia nuts. But pretty much that's all I've had. I'm just trying to think. Oh, and a couple of coffees, a couple of black coffees. So I'm actually today, as I said, I'm going to have my most carbs I've had for a long time, probably for 2 years or a year and a half at least. So I'm having a zhongzi, which is a rice dumpling. So it's made out of glutinous rice. And it's a very traditional Shanghainese zhongzi. So I'm going to have this now and see how that affects my blood sugar. At the moment, the blood sugar has been quite low through the day. I'll just show you the graph once I bring up the Freestyle Libre app. As you can see, the graph has, I don't know if you can see that angle. I should really work out how to show my phone a bit better. But as you can see, it's been quite low on the low end, kind of close to 3 and 4 today, and it's trending down-ish at the moment. But I think after this, it's going to spike up. So my theory is that it'll spike up, and I suspect this is probably going to be one of the foods that will be higher glucose for a longer period of time than anything else I've had. So I've had a little bit of chocolate a couple of days ago, and that has, kind of given a bit little blips, but the chocolate is like, other from the little Easter egg sort of chocolate, it's pretty dark chocolate and not very much sugar. So generally it hasn't really spiked my blood sugar much higher than like 5 point something. So let's see how this dumpling goes. All right, I will try and pause this and eat it and see how I go, and put this all up in one video. Of the 11th of July, and I did my glutinous rice dumpling as an experiment on my CGM, which was very, very interesting. So I did quite a few scans, and it's been quite interesting, as I said. I think I had my meal around, like the glutinous rice thing, at around 4 o'clock. As you can see here, it spiked quite high, 11.6. It probably went a little bit higher than that in the end. And but the interesting thing is that you can see here, I told you it was 11.6, so don't know if you can see the whole graph there, but that line just above where it spiked up is the number 12. So 11.6 probably was the highest, but as you can see, it dropped quite low as well. So at the 2-hour mark, after eating, it was back at around 5.7 millimoles per litre. But you'll see that little dip there, that dip, it went down to 2.7, which was quite interesting. At first I thought, oh, that's fine, 2.7. Obviously my insulin's just overcompensating. But that 2.7 actually made me feel very trembly and shaky, which I've had before, and I never really could never correlate it to low blood sugar, because I would get shaky and then measure my blood sugar, and it would be, sometimes it'd be low, sometimes it'd be higher. This was years ago when I just had the finger prick version. And so I could never really attribute it to having low blood sugar, but that was definitely the same feeling. So I found that really, really interesting, that at 2.7 millimoles per litre, I did have that trembly feeling. Nothing too drastic, but I remember being quite stressed about it years ago, and this was back in 2007, so obviously many, many years ago, having that feeling and not really working out what it was, and having multiple tests, and nobody really told me why that was the case. But the little jump up, I did have some berries with some cream, and I actually even had a chocolate. So I had one of these chocolates, which I still had in my fridge. I just didn't feel great, even having a bit of the berries. I just felt that I just needed a little bit more, less trembliness and starting to feel cold. So I had one of these. I only had one left, so it's definitely fairly low carb, but it was quite sweet. So anyway, I had that. feel better. But really glad I've done this experiment now. I really do know what a low blood sugar feels like, and what was happening before. So interesting that I was getting that low blood sugar, because that was often before I ate anything at around 11 a.m. I remember feeling that when I was at work, and this was many, many, many years ago. So definitely ate very differently then. Yeah, interesting stuff. So I will continue this experiment, but that was my highest carb planned thing that I was going to eat. So interesting that it spiked high, it dropped back low. I think the theory is because it was not 2 hours before it dropped down, that I'm not considered diabetic or pre-diabetic from what I could read. But the fact that it went up to 11.6 is kind of scary. So I don't think I'll be eating the glutinous rice. Obviously, the resistant starch idea is debunked. All right.